FBI, don't move!
You people need to learn your place.
We are here to demand
Derek Mitchell's fist slammed the marble counter so hard the pens jumped. His face red as raw meat twisted with rage as he grabbed Diana Washington by the arm, fingers digging deep enough to bruise. I said, get out! The crack of her knee hitting the floor echoed through First National Bank like a gunshot. Blood splattered the white marble. 23 phones lifted recording. And that's when something small, leather-bound with a gold edge, skittered across the floor, her FBI badge spinning like a confession about to explode. If you want to see how one racist security guard's career ended in federal prison, hit that subscribe button right now and watch till the end. Comment your city below. I want to see how far this story of justice travels. 53 minutes, Marcus. I've been waiting 53 goddamn minutes for basic banking documents. Diana Washington pressed her phone tight against her ear while standing in the marble lobby of First National Bank, trying to keep her voice low enough that the other customers wouldn't hear her frustration bleeding through her professional facade. Just leave, Marcus Hayes, her FBI partner said through the phone. We can subpoena the records. No, Diana's jaw tightened. That's not the point. I shouldn't need a subpoena for documents any account holder can legally request. I'm not leaving until I understand why they're stonewalling me. Diana, you know why. She did know. Of course she knew. 38 years of being black in America meant she knew exactly why the blonde teller kept disappearing with her ID. Why the manager kept making mysterious phone calls instead of processing her simple request. Why the security guard had been watching her like she was about to rob the place since the moment she walked in. I'll give them 10 more minutes, Diana said, checking her watch, 9:47 a.m. She'd walked into this branch at 9:17 with what should have been a routine request for quarterly reconciliation reports, part of her investigation into a complex money laundering scheme that had threads running through half the major banks in Chicago. Your call, huh? Marcus said. But if you're not back by noon, I'm coming to get you. I can handle myself. I know you can. That's what worries me. Diana ended the call and slipped her phone back into her purse, the expensive one James had bought her for their 10th anniversary 3 months before the IED in Afghanistan took him away. 3 years now, and she still carried it every day, still felt the weight of his absence in every empty room, every silent morning, every time someone asked why a woman like her was still single. Ma'am? The voice belonged to Ashley Chen, the teller who'd taken her ID what felt like a lifetime ago. The young woman looked nervous, eyes darting between Diana and the back office. My manager would like to speak with you. Finally, Diana muttered, following Ashley past the teller line toward a glass-walled office where she could see Richard Stone, the branch manager, sitting behind a mahogany desk that probably cost more than most people's cars. But before they reached the office, another voice cut through the lobby's classical music. Hold up. Diana turned to see the security guard approaching Derek Mitchell according to his name tag. 6'2", built like an ex-cop who'd let himself go just enough to strain his uniform, but not enough to lose the swagger. He had that particular walk. She recognized the one that said he was used to people getting out of his way. Is there a problem? Diana asked, keeping her voice neutral. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Mitchell positioned himself between her and the manager's office. You've been here almost an hour asking unusual questions, making demands. I've been waiting almost an hour for someone to process my legitimate request for banking documents. What kind of documents? The kind I'm legally entitled to as an account holder. Mitchell's eyes narrowed. You don't look familiar. You new to this branch. I don't need to be familiar to you to conduct my banking business. See that attitude right there? Mitchell took a step closer. That's what concerns me. Diana felt her muscles tense involuntarily. She'd been through defensive tactics training at Quantico, could probably put Mitchell on the ground in 3 moves if she needed to. But that wasn't why she was here. She was here for documents, for evidence, for her investigation. Mr. Mitchell, Ashley Chen spoke up, her voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Stone is waiting. Mr. Stone can wait another minute, Mitchell said without looking at her. His focus stayed locked on Diana. I asked you a question. Are you new to this branch? That's not relevant to Waheyuki. Answer the question. The lobby had gone quiet. Diana could feel eyes on them other customers pretending not to watch while absolutely watching. An elderly couple near the new accounts desk. 2 college kids at the 8. A businesswoman in line at the next teller, all of them sensing the tension, the way animals sense a storm coming. Yes, Diana said finally, this is my first time at this particular branch. Is that a crime? Depends on why you're really here. I'm really here for banking documents, as I've explained multiple times. Where are you from? The question landed like a slap. Diana felt heat rise in her chest, but she kept her expression neutral. Chicago. No, I mean, where are you from? There it was, the question behind the question. The one she'd been asked 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways by 1,000 different Derek Mitchells who couldn't reconcile her professional appearance with their assumptions about who belonged in spaces like this. Detroit originally, she said, her voice flat. My parents are from Alabama. Their parents were from Georgia. Before that, I'd have to check the slave records. Is that thorough enough for you, or would you like my complete ancestry report? Mitchell's face flushed red. Don't get smart with me. Then don't ask stupid questions. Excuse me, a young voice interrupted. Diana glanced over to see one of the college kids, a white boy in a Northwestern University hoodie, holding up his phone. This is really inappropriate. She's just trying to do her banking. Mind your business, kid, Mitchell said, without looking at him. Actually, the kid's friend, an Asian boy in glasses, also had his phone out. We're making this our business. You're racially profiling her. Nobody's profiling anybody, Mitchell snapped. I'm doing my job. Your job is to harass black customers. This from the businesswoman Patricia Wong, according to the business card Diana could see sticking out of her pocket. She, too, had her phone raised recording. Because that's what we're all witnessing. Ma'am, I need you to put that away. It's a public space. I can record. Mitchell's neck was turning purple, now veins standing out like cords. Everyone needs to mind their own business and let me do my job. Your job, an elderly black woman near the door spoke up. Estelle Parker dignified in her Sunday best, even though it was Tuesday. Young man, I've been banking here for 30 years, and I've never seen security interrogate someone for requesting documents. Never. Not once. Not until she walked in. Mrs. Parker. Don't you Mrs. Parker me, Derek Mitchell. I knew your mother. She'd be ashamed of you right now. That hit something. Mitchell's face went from purple to white to red again in the span of 3 seconds. His hands balled into fists at his sides. Richard Stone finally emerged from his office looking like a man walking to his own execution. His Armani suit was impeccable, but sweat beaded on his forehead. Mr. Mitchell, thank you for your vigilance. I'll take it from here. Sir, I don't think... I said I'll take it from here. Mitchell didn't move. He stood there, a wall of barely controlled rage eyes still locked on Diana. She's trouble. I can feel it. What you feel, Diana said quietly, is threatened by a black woman who won't lower her eyes and shuffle away when you try to intimidate her. Your feelings are not my problem. You've got some balls, lady. Agent, Diana said. What? Agent, not lady. Agent Diana Washington. She didn't reach for her badge. Not yet. Let them think she meant insurance, agent, travel agent, real estate agent. Let them dig their own graves a little deeper. Stone's face lost another shade of color. Agent, what kind of agent? The kind who's losing patience with being treated like a criminal for requesting routine banking documents. Nobody's treating you like, Mitchell started. 57 minutes. Diana interrupted, checking her watch again. That's how long I've been here. For documents that should take 5 minutes to print. Your teller has disappeared with my ID twice. You, Mr. Stone, have made at least 3 phone calls that I could see through your glass office walls. And now your security guard is interrogating me about my ancestry. So yes, someone is definitely treating me like something, and it isn't a valued customer. Stone's phone rang. He looked at it like it might bite him, then answered. Stone here? His face went from pale to ashen as he listened. Yes, sir, I understand. Right away, sir. He hung up and looked at Diana with something that might have been fear. Your documents will be ready in just a moment. Suddenly, after an hour, there was a technical issue. It's been resolved. Technical issue, Diana repeated. Is that what we're calling it? Mr. Stone, Mitchell said. You can't just Derek go back to your post. But now. Mitchell didn't move. His breathing had gone shallow and fast like a bull about to charge. You're making a mistake. She's up to something. They always are. They... Diana's voice was dangerously quiet. Who's they, Mr. Mitchell? You know exactly who I mean. I want you to say it, out loud, in front of all these witnesses with their cameras. Tell us exactly who they are. The lobby was dead silent except for the sound of Mitchell's breathing and the soft classical music that seemed absurdly cheerful given the tension that had turned the air thick as molasses. You people, Mitchell said, finally the words coming out like they'd been ripped from his chest. You people always come in here making demands acting like you own the place, playing the race card when anyone questions you. You people, Diana repeated, letting the words hang in the air like a noose. "There it is." "Derek," Stone's voice cracked. "That's enough." But Mitchell was past caring. Something had snapped in him, some last restraint that had been holding back years of carefully managed hatred. "Yeah, you people, coming in here with your entitled attitude, your demands, your threats to sue. Well, I'm not scared of you. I don't care what kind of agent you claim to be." "Claim to be?" Diana pulled out her phone. "Marcus, yeah, you might want to head over here after all. First National Downtown Branch." "No, I'm fine. Just documenting a federal crime in progress." "Federal crime?" Stone looked like he might faint. "What federal crime?" Diana put her phone away and looked Mitchell dead in the eye. "Deprivation of rights under color of law. Title 18, Section 242. When someone acting under authority of law willfully deprives a person of their civil rights based on race, it's a federal crime punishable by up to 10 years in prison." "You threatening me?" "I'm educating you. There's a difference." "That's it." Mitchell moved faster than a man his size should be able to move. His hand shot out and grabbed Diana's upper arm, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. "You're leaving now." "Derek, no," Ashley Chen shouted. "Let her go." Patricia Wong moved forward, but Mitchell shot her a look that made her freeze. "Everyone back off," he snarled. "This woman is trespassing." "I'm not trespassing," Diana said calmly, though her arm felt like it was in a vice. "I'm conducting legal banking business." "Not anymore." He started pulling her toward the door. Diana had a choice. She could break his grip. She knew exactly how a simple twist and strike that would put him on his knees. But that would escalate things, potentially put civilians at risk, and give him the excuse he was looking for to claim she was violent. So she let him pull her, but she didn't make it easy. She went partially limp, making him work for every step, making sure everyone could see him dragging her like a caveman with a club. "This is assault." Tyler, the college kid, had moved closer, his phone steady. "We're all seeing this. This is assault." "She's resisting," Mitchell grunted, pulling harder. "She's not resisting anything." His friend had moved to get a different angle. "She's just not helping you assault her." "I said back off." Mitchell twisted Diana's arm behind her back, the sudden torque sending fire through her shoulder. She bit back a cry of pain and wouldn't give him the satisfaction, but her body betrayed her, instinctively trying to relieve the pressure. "Stop it, you're hurting her." Estelle Parker moved forward surprisingly fast for her age. "This is wrong. This is all wrong. Ma'am, stay back or I'll arrest you for interfering." "Arrest me? Then I'm 72 years old and I'll be damned if I stand here and watch you brutalize this woman for being black in a bank." The lobby erupted. Everyone talking at once, phones recording people shouting. Someone yelled that they were calling 911. Someone else said they were live streaming. The college kids were narrating everything for their recordings. In the chaos, Diana's heel caught on the marble floor's edge where it met the carpet. With Mitchell pulling and her weight already off balance, physics took over. She had a split second to decide protect her face and risk her shoulder, or protect her shoulder and risk her face. She chose her shoulder. Her knee hit the marble with a crack that everyone heard. Pain exploded through her leg, sharp and immediate. Then her hip, then her palms as she tried to break the fall. But Mitchell didn't let go, didn't stop pulling, and her shoulder twisted at an angle that sent white-hot agony through her entire arm. "Now look what you did," Mitchell shouted loud enough for everyone to hear. "She's fighting me." "She's not fighting," multiple voices shouted at once. Diana tasted blood. Her lip had split when her face grazed the floor, and copper spread across her tongue. But worse than the pain was the humiliation being dragged across a bank floor, like garbage, her professional dignity stripped away by a racist security guard who'd decided she didn't belong. That's when her purse strap snapped. The expensive leather James's last anniversary gift gave way with a sound like a gunshot. Everything scattered across the white marble floor. Her wallet fell open, photos spilling out her and James on their wedding day, him in his army dress uniform, the folded flag from his funeral that she carried everywhere. Her keys jangled across the floor in different directions. Lipstick rolled toward the ATM. Her phone hit face down the screen, cracking on impact. And something else. Something small and rectangular in dark leather with gold trim. It slid across the polished floor like it was on ice, spinning slightly, catching the overhead lights. It came to rest right by Estelle Parker's sensible black shoes. Mitchell, oblivious to what had just happened, put his knee between Diana's shoulder blades and pressed down. 200 pounds of pressure crushing her ribs into the unforgiving marble. "You done?" he hissed, his breath hot against her ear. "You done making trouble?" Diana couldn't answer, could barely breathe. The weight on her back, compressed her lungs, made every breath a mathematical calculation of angles and pressure. She turned her head to the side, cheek pressed against cold stone, and watched through blurred vision as Estelle Parker bent down slowly, arthritis making the movement difficult, and picked up the leather case. "Stay down," Mitchell said louder now, performing for the cameras. "You people need to learn your place." "You people," someone in the crowd repeated. "He said it again. He really said it again." "We all heard it," Patricia Wong confirmed. "Multiple recordings from multiple angles. This is evidence of a hate crime." "Shut up." Mitchell's weight shifted, grinding Diana's ribs harder into the floor. "All of you shut up!" Estelle Parker had opened the leather case. Diana watched her eyes go wide, watched her mouth fall open, watched her hands start to shake. "Oh my God," the elderly woman breathed. "What?" Mitchell glanced over. "What is it?" Estelle held up the case high enough for everyone to see. The gold shield caught the light like a revelation. The eagle spread its wings across the top. The words were clear, unmistakable, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and below that Special Agent Diana Washington. The silence that followed was absolute. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the classical music seemed to pause, as if the universe itself needed a moment to process what had just happened. "She's..." Estelle's voice cracked. "She's FBI. Dear God, you just assaulted an FBI agent." Mitchell's knee lifted off Diana's back like it had burst into flames. He scrambled backward, tripped over his own feet, caught himself on a pillar. His face went from red to white so fast it looked like someone had drained all the blood from his body with a single pump. "No," he said. "No, she didn't. She never said..." "She didn't have to say." Patricia Wong's voice cut through his denial like a blade. "She was a customer you profiled, harassed, and assaulted because she was black. This is..." Stone stumbled forward, his legs barely holding him. "Agent Washington, we didn't..." "If we had known..." Diana pushed herself up slowly. Everything hurt. Her knee screamed with every movement. Her shoulder throbbed. Her ribs ached with each breath. Blood dripped from her split lip onto her white blouse, each drop a crimson indictment. But she stood, straight-backed, dignified, unbroken. She took the badge from Estelle's shaking hands, clipped it to her belt where everyone could see it. Then she pulled out her cracked phone and hit speed dial. "Marcus, bring everyone. Yes, the full tactical team. Federal assault in progress. Well, just concluded. I'm injured but functional. Suspect is Derek Mitchell, head of security. There's a second suspect, Richard Stone, branch manager. Conspiracy to violate civil rights. Multiple witnesses, multiple recordings. How long good? Nobody leaves until you get here." She ended the call and turned to face Mitchell, who looked like he was about to vomit. "Special Agent Diana Washington, FBI Financial Crimes Division. I came here for documents related to a federal money laundering investigation. What I found was a pattern of systematic discrimination that's about to destroy your life." "I didn't know." "You didn't need to know. I was a human being. That should have been enough." "Agent Washington," Stone tried his voice barely a whisper. "This is all terrible misunderstanding." "The only misunderstanding," Diana said, "is that you thought you could get away with it. That you thought because I was black, because I was a woman, because I was alone, that you could treat me as less than human." She looked around the room at all the witnesses still recording, still watching. "Every one of you who filmed this, who saw what happened, you're witnesses to a federal crime. Please don't leave. FBI agents will need your statements and your footage." "We're not going anywhere," Tyler said firmly. "We saw everything." "He assaulted you," his friend added. "We have it from multiple angles." "I documented everything," a young voice said from near the security desk. Devin Williams, the other security guard, held up a notebook. "Times quotes actions, everything Mr. Mitchell did, and..." He swallowed hard. "This isn't the first time. There have been others, complaints that got buried, payments to keep people quiet." Diana's eyes sharpened. "How many others?" "At least 6 that I know about, maybe more. Always black or Hispanic customers, always causing disturbances when they were just trying to bank while brown." "You son of a bitch," someone in the crowd muttered. Mitchell found his voice, though it came out strangled. "You should have identified yourself." "I was under no obligation to identify myself as a federal agent while conducting routine banking business. You, however, were obligated to treat all customers with equal respect regardless of race. You failed." Sirens wailed outside, getting closer. Not regular police, Diana recognized the specific pitch of federal vehicles. Through the glass doors, she could see black SUVs pulling up agents in tactical vests getting out. Marcus Hayes was the first through the door. 6'4", built like he could bench press a car, wearing his FBI vest and looking ready for war. He took one look at Diana, the blood, the torn clothes, the way she was favoring her left leg, and his expression went dark as midnight. "Medical team now, he barked into his radio. Then to Diana, "How bad be it functional?" "That's not what I asked." "Knee, shoulder, rib, split lip. Nothing broken. I'll live." Marcus turned to Mitchell and Stone. "Derek Mitchell, Richard Stone, you're under arrest for assault on a federal officer and conspiracy to violate civil rights. You have the right to remain silent." "I want a lawyer," Mitchell said quickly. "You're going to need one," Marcus replied, pulling out his handcuffs. "A good one." As the agents separated, Mitchell and Stone began taking witness statements and secured the scene. Diana walked over to where Estelle Parker stood still, clutching her purse, tears streaming down her weathered face. "Thank you," Diana said softly, "for picking up my badge, for speaking up, for refusing to be silent." "Honey," Estelle said, taking Diana's hand in both of hers. "I've lived through Jim Crow. I've lived through the civil rights movement. I've lived through decades of progress and backlash and progress again. I thought maybe things had gotten better, but watching that man put his hands on you, hearing him say 'you people' like it was 1955. She shook her head. "Some battles we have to keep fighting, don't we?" "Yes, ma'am, we do." "You fight them, honey. You fight them all. And we'll be right behind you." Diana looked around the lobby at Tyler and his friend, giving their statements to agents at Patricia Wong. Exchanging contact information with the prosecutor who'd just arrived at Devin Williams, turning over his notebook full of documentation at Ashley Chen, crying while she told an agent about all the times she'd seen Mitchell do this before but had been too scared to speak up. This wasn't just about her anymore. This was about every person who'd ever been made to feel like they didn't belong in spaces they had every right to occupy. Every person who'd been questioned, harassed, humiliated for existing while black or brown. Every person who'd been told in ways subtle and not so subtle to learn their place. "Agent Washington," a young agent appeared at her elbow. "The medical team needs to examine you." "In a minute." Diana pulled out her phone again, scrolled through her contacts, found the number she was looking for. "Nora, it's Diana Washington. Yes, that Diana. I have a story for you. Bring a camera crew to First National Bank downtown branch. Trust me, you're going to want this." She hung up and looked at Marcus. "We're not just arresting them. We're exposing the whole system. Every buried complaint, every payoff, every policy that led to this." Marcus nodded. "Whatever you need." Diana turned back to the lobby, to the place where her blood still marked the white marble where her dignity had been assaulted, but not destroyed, where justice was about to begin. "Mr. Mitchell," she called out as the agents led him toward the door in handcuffs. He turned to look at her, his face a mask of fear and rage and disbelief. "You asked me where I'm from," Diana said. "I'm from a long line of people who refused to learn their place, and today you learned yours." The crowd, witnesses, customers, bank employees who'd come out to watch, began to applaud. Slowly at first, then louder, then thunderous. Someone started chanting "Justice, Msfechutus," and others joined in. Diana stood there in the center of it all, bloodied but not broken, hurt but not defeated. A black woman with a badge who'd just proved that sometimes, just sometimes, the system could work for people like her too. But she knew this was just the beginning. Mitchell and Stone were just symptoms. The disease ran deeper, spread wider, infected more of the system than most people wanted to admit. Good thing Diana Washington had never been afraid of hard work. Good thing she'd never learned her place. Good thing she never would. The medical team arrived 3 minutes later, but Diana waved them off. "Check me after I'm done here." She turned to Marcus, who was coordinating with the arriving agents. "Get me everything. Phone records, emails, internal memos, security footage from the last 5 years. Diana, you need medical attention. What I need is to nail these bastards before their lawyers show up." She pulled out her cracked phone again, scrolled through her contacts. "Sarah, yeah, it's Diana. I need you at First National Bank right now. Bring your whole team from civil rights. No, I'm not joking. Federal assault conspiracy, and I think we've got a pattern and practice case. How soon? Good." 10:47 a.m. Mitchell sat in the back of the federal vehicle, handcuffs cutting into his wrists. Through the window, he watched Diana directing agents, giving orders despite the blood on her face, despite favoring her left leg. His lawyer would be here soon. Had to be. This was all a misunderstanding. She should have identified herself. How was he supposed to know Mr. Mitchell? An agent opened the door. Young, clean-cut, the kind who probably went to Yale or Harvard. "Your lawyer's here." Thank God. Mitchell recognized him immediately. Robert Stern, the bank's corporate counsel. Expensive suit, silver hair, the kind of lawyer who made problems disappear. Don't say anything, Stern said immediately. Not a word. She didn't identify herself. Not a word. 10:52 a.m. Inside the bank. Devin Williams sat across from Agent Sarah Coleman, his notebook open between them. His hands shook as he flipped through pages of meticulous documentation. October 15th, he read. Black male approximately 35 requested wire transfer forms. Mitchell followed him around the bank for 20 minutes, asked him 4 times for additional ID, called Stone to verify his account even though he'd been banking here for 6 years. What happened to him? He filed a complaint. 2 weeks later, he got a check for $15,000 and a non-disclosure agreement. Never saw him again. Sarah wrote everything down. How many of these do you have? Devin flipped through the notebook. 43 incidents in the past 18 months. These are just the ones I personally witnessed. 43, Sarah's voice sharpened. And management knew, they more than knew, they had a whole system. Mitchell would identify problems. Stone would stonewall them or make them uncomfortable enough to leave, and if anyone complained, corporate would cut a check. They called it customer satisfaction remediation. You mean hush money? That's exactly what I mean. 11:05 a.m. Diana finally let the medical team examine her. Bruised ribs, possibly cracked. Shoulder strained but not dislocated. Knee swollen, probable minor ligament damage. They wanted her to go to the hospital. Later, she said, standing up despite their protests. Hurry! Marcus, what did you find? Marcus held up a tablet. Stone made 3 calls between Diana arriving and Mitchell approaching her. First to corporate security, then to legal, then to someone named Harrison at something called Steinberg Crisis Management. Crisis Management. Diana took the tablet, scrolled through the phone records. He called a crisis management firm before anything even happened. Gets better. Look at the text messages. Diana read aloud, subject is asking about quarterly reconciliation reports. African-American female professional appearance insistent, please advise. She looked up. This is from Stone to corporate security 40 minutes before Mitchell touched me. They were setting you up from the start. No, they were profiling me from the start. The setup came later. Diana handed back the tablet. Get me Harrison from the crisis management firm. I want to know exactly what Stone was told. Shh. 11:08 a.m. Nora Kim from Channel 7 arrived with a full camera crew. Diana had worked with her before on financial crime cases, knew she could trust her to tell the story right. Jesus, Diana, you look... I look like a security guard assaulted me for banking while black, which is exactly what happened. Diana straightened her torn jacket. You recording? We're live in 2 minutes. Good, I want everyone to see this, but first, I need you to talk to some people. Diana pointed to where Estelle Parker sat with Patricia Wong and the college students. They saw everything. Get their stories. Diana, are you sure you want to do this? The FBI usually doesn't have one of their agents assaulted in broad daylight in front of 23 witnesses with cameras. This isn't usual. None of this is usual. 11:25 a.m. Tyler, the college kid, stood in front of the camera, his Northwestern hoodie wrinkled, his face flushed with anger. She was just standing there, just waiting for her documents, and this security guard, he kept asking where she was from, like where she was from, you know what that means. It was so obvious what he was doing. His friend Kevin nodded beside him. When he grabbed her, when he twisted her arm, you could hear it. Everyone could hear it. She wasn't resisting, she wasn't fighting, he just attacked her because she wouldn't leave. And then, Tyler's voice cracked, then he put his knee on her back, like she was some kind of, like she wasn't even human, and he said, you people need to learn your place. We all heard it. It's all on video. 11:32 a.m. A.M. Stone sat in a federal holding room. His Armani suit wrinkled his face gray. Across from him, his lawyer, different from Mitchell's younger, hungrier, typed furiously on a laptop. They don't have anything on you, Aggie, the lawyer said. You didn't touch her. You didn't say anything discriminatory. You were trying to de-escalate. I called corporate. I called the crisis firm. So due diligence. You saw a situation developing, you sought guidance. That's what a responsible manager does. They're going to find the others. The lawyer's fingers stopped moving. What others? The other settlements, the other complaints. Jesus Christ, there were so many. How many? Stone put his head in his hands. I don't know. Dozens, maybe more. We had a whole protocol. The lawyer closed his laptop slowly. You need to stop talking, right now. 11:41 a.m. Diana stood in Stone's office, now a crime scene, while FBI forensic techs copied hard drives and boxed documents. She picked up a framed photo from his desk. Stone shaking hands with the bank's CEO at some corporate event, both men smiling like they owned the world. Agent Washington, a young tech, held up a folder. "You need to see this." Diana opened it. Inside was a memo dated 6 months ago. Enhanced security protocols for non-traditional banking customers. She read aloud, branch managers should exercise additional vigilance when processing requests from customers who may present elevated risk factors, including but not limited to unusual documentation requests. Questions about account policies or demographic indicators suggesting possible fraudulent intent. Demographic indicators, Marcus said from behind her. That's corporate speak for profile minorities. It's signed by the senior VP of security. Diana took out her phone, took pictures of every page. This came from corporate. This is policy. Diana? Sarah Coleman appeared in the doorway. We found something else. Stone's computer had a folder labeled Resolutions. 67 PDF files. All NDAs. All signed by Black or Hispanic customers. All for amounts between $10,000 and $25,000. 67. That we found so far. There may be more. Diana felt something cold settle in her chest. This wasn't just Mitchell being racist. This wasn't just Stone being complicit. This was systematic. This was institutional. This was exactly the kind of thing she'd joined the FBI to fight. 11:54 a.m. Mitchell's lawyer Stern stood in front of news cameras outside the federal building, his expression grave but confident. My client is a dedicated security professional who was simply doing his job. Agent Washington failed to identify herself as law enforcement. Had she done so, none of this unfortunate misunderstanding would have occurred. Misunderstanding, Nora Kim pushed forward with her microphone. We have video of your client saying you people need to learn your place. How is that a misunderstanding? My client's words have been taken out of context. What context makes that acceptable? Stern's composure cracked slightly. No further questions. 12:03 p.m. Diana sat in a federal vehicle, finally allowing the EMTs to properly examine her injuries. On her phone, she watched Stern's press conference, watched him try to spin assault as a misunderstanding, racism as context. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Agent Washington, this is Harrison from Steinberg Crisis Management. Diana sat up straighter, waved off the EMT, trying to check her ribs. Mr. Harrison, I understand you advised Richard Stone this morning. I'm calling to clarify that our firm had no knowledge of any discriminatory practices. Cut the bullshit. What did you tell Stone? A pause. I advised him to document everything and contact corporate legal. Before or after you knew I was FBI? Agent Washington, I think there's been... If you say misunderstanding, I'm adding you to the conspiracy charges. I was going to say a failure in judgment. On the bank's part, our firm is willing to cooperate fully with your investigation. Good. My team will be in touch. And Harrison, if I find out you've deleted even one email, one text, one phone record, I'll personally make sure you're charged with obstruction. She hung up. 12:17 p.m. The story exploded across social media. #banking while Black started trending within an hour. The video, Tyler's video, Kevin's video, Patricia's video, all from different angles, spread like wildfire. Diana watched the view counts climb 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. Comments poured in, this happened to me at my bank too. They made me wait 2 hours for a cashier's check from my own account. Security followed me to my car after I made a large deposit. They asked for 3 forms of ID when I tried to cash my paycheck. Story after story after story, all with the same theme, being treated like a criminal for banking while Black. 12:28 p.m. Diana's phone rang. Her supervisor, Special Agent in Charge, Raymond Torres. Washington, I'm watching the news. Are you okay? I'm functional, sir. That's not what I asked. I asked if you're okay. Diana was quiet for a moment. A man put his knee on my back and told me to learn my place. So no, sir, I'm not okay, but I'm angry, and right now, that's better. What do you need, Bob? Full task force. Financial crimes, civil rights. Public corruption, if Stone or Mitchell took any kickbacks for targeting certain customers. I want to tear this bank apart. You've got it. Whatever you need. Diana. Sir. Make them pay. That's the plan. 41 p.m. Ashley Chen sat across from Agent Coleman, tears streaming down her face. I wanted to say something. So many times I wanted to say something. But I have student loans, rent, my mom needs help with her medical bills. I couldn't lose this job. We understand, Sarah said gently. Tell us what you saw. It was like they had a checklist. Black customer asks too many questions, call Stone. Hispanic customer wants to wire money, extra verification. Asian customer with a large cash deposit, suspicious activity report. But white customers, they could do anything. No questions asked. Did anyone ever complain to corporate all the time? But corporate would just send down these memos about enhanced security protocols and protecting against fraud. Everyone knew what they really meant. How long has this been going on? Ashley wiped her eyes. Since before I started 3 years ago. Other tellers ones who've been here longer, they said it got really bad about 5 years ago when Mitchell got promoted to head of security. 54. PM. Marcus found Diana in the bank's conference room, now converted to a makeshift command center. FBI agents worked at laptops, documents spread across the table, evidence bags being labeled and logged. Diana, you need to see this. He handed her a printout. Mitchell's employment history. Guess where he worked before here? Diana read. Chicago PD, 15 years. 3 excessive force complaints. 2 sustained. Forced retirement with full pension after he broke a suspect's arm during a routine traffic stop. The suspect was a black teenager, honors student, no record. Mitchell claimed he was reaching for a weapon. No weapon was found. And First National hired him anyway. Better, they hired him because of it. Look at this email from HR to corporate security. Marcus pointed to a highlighted section. Candidate has extensive law enforcement experience and a proven track record of maintaining order in challenging situations. Maintaining order. Diana felt sick. They knew exactly what they were getting. 1:08 p.m. The crowd outside First National had grown. What started as curious onlookers had become a full protest. Signs appeared, banking while black is not a crime. Justice for Diana? How many others? Estelle Parker stood at the front, her Sunday best clothes, immaculate, her voice strong as she led chants. No justice, no peace, no racist police. A reporter approached her. Ma'am, why are you out here? Because I'm tired, Estelle said directly into the camera. I'm 72 years old, and I'm tired of seeing black folks treated like criminals for existing. That young woman, that agent, she was somebody's daughter, somebody's wife, a widow who lost her husband serving this country, and they treated her like trash. If they'll do that to an FBI agent, what about the rest of us? 1:19 p.m., Diana's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number, check your email. A friend. She opened her secure FBI email. One new message, no sender identified, routed through an anonymizer. The attachment was a single PDF, First National Bank, Internal Security Assessment 2019. Diana opened it, started reading. Her eyes widened. Marcus, get Sarah. Get everyone. Now. The document was a consultant's report commissioned by First National's Board of Directors. It detailed in clinical language how certain branches had elevated rates of customer service complaints correlating with demographic factors. The consultant recommended immediate cessation of discriminatory practices to avoid federal investigation and potential criminal liability. The report was dated 3 years ago. They knew, Diana said when everyone had gathered. The board knew, corporate knew, they all knew this was happening and they chose to continue. That makes them all conspirators, Sarah said. We can charge the entire leadership. Diana, Marcus held up his phone. Torres is calling. He says the U.S. attorney wants to meet. Today. 1:32 p.m. Stone broke. Sitting in the federal holding room, faced with 67 NDAs and the prospect of decades in federal prison, he broke completely. I want immunity, he told his lawyer. Richard don't. I want immunity and I'll tell them everything, the whole system, how it works, who runs it, where the bodies are buried. His lawyer sighed. I'll make the call. 1:45 p.m. U.S. Attorney Jennifer Martinez sat across from Diana in a federal conference room. Martinez was known for taking down corrupt politicians and corporate criminals. She didn't mess around. Agent Washington first, are you okay? I'm angry. Good, stay angry. It'll help you get through what's coming. Martinez opened a folder. We're prepared to charge Mitchell with assault on a federal officer, deprivation of rights under color of law, conspiracy to violate civil rights. He's looking at 15 to 20 years. What about Stone? Stone's lawyer just called. He wants to make a deal. Diana leaned forward. What kind of deal? Full cooperation. Testimony against Mitchell, against corporate leadership, against the entire system, in exchange for reduced charges. How reduced? 2 years minimum security, 3 years supervised release. That's not enough. Not for what he did. It's not about Stone anymore, it's about everyone above him. The CEO, the board, the entire corrupt system. Stone can give us that. Diana was quiet for a moment. She thought about being dragged across that floor, about Mitchell's knee on her back, about Stone watching it happen. But she also thought about the 67 people who'd been paid to stay quiet, about the countless others who'd simply walked away rather than fight. "Take the deal," she said finally, "but I want conditions. He testifies publicly, no closed-door depositions. I want everyone to hear what he has to say." Martinez smiled. "You're going to make a good witness yourself." 2:01 p.m. The press conference was held on the steps of the federal building. Diana stood between Torres and Martinez, her face still showing bruises, her arm in a sling they'd finally convinced her to wear. This morning, Torres began Special Agent Diana Washington was assaulted while conducting lawful business at First National Bank. The assault was racially motivated and part of a pattern of discriminatory conduct that we believe reaches the highest levels of the bank's leadership. Cameras clicked. Reporters shouted questions. Torres continued, "We are announcing a comprehensive investigation into First National Bank's practices across all branches in 6 states. We urge anyone who has experienced discrimination at any First National location to contact our civil rights hotline." "Agent Washington," a reporter called out, "will you be pressing charges personally?" Diana stepped to the microphone. "This isn't about me. This is about every person who's been made to feel like they don't belong in spaces they have every right to occupy. Every person who's been profiled, harassed, humiliated for the crime of existing while black or brown. Every person who's been told to learn their place." She paused, looked directly into the main camera. "To those people, I want you to know I see you, I hear you, and I'm fighting for you. We're going to expose every policy, every practice, every person who contributed to this system of discrimination, and we're going to tear it down." "What about Mitchell?" another reporter asked. "What's going to happen to him?" Martinez took the microphone. "Mr. Mitchell has been charged with multiple federal crimes. He faces up to 20 years in prison. His fate will be decided by a jury of his peers." 2:18 p.m. In his cell, Mitchell watched the press conference on a small TV. Watched Diana stand there, dignified, despite her injuries, powerful, despite what he'd done to her. His lawyer sat beside him. 20 years, Mitchell said numbly. "They're going to put me away for 20 years. We'll fight it. You were doing your job. You had no way of knowing. Stop." "Camis." Mitchell turned to look at him. "Just stop. You know what the worst part is? I can't even remember all their faces. All the people I did this to, they just blurred together." His lawyer had no response to that. 31 p.m. Diana finally agreed to go to the hospital. As the doctor examined her knee, her phone rang constantly. Reporters, colleagues, friends who'd seen the news. She let them all go to voicemail, except one. "Mrs. Parker." "Agent Washington, honey, I just wanted to check on you, make sure you're all right." "I'm okay, Mrs. Parker. Thank you for what you did today. Your courage made a difference." "Honey, you're the one with courage, standing up to them like that, not backing down even when that man was hurting you. You reminded an old woman that the fight's not over. It's never over." "No, ma'am, it's not." "You rest up now, but when you're ready, you come see me. I've got stories about this bank, about this city, about the fights we've been fighting for longer than you've been alive. Maybe they'll help with your case." "I'd like that, Mrs. Parker. I'd like that very much." 2:47 p.m. The doctor delivered the verdict: torn MCL in her knee, separated shoulder, 2 cracked ribs, severe bruising. She'd need physical therapy. She'd need rest. She'd need time to heal. "How long before I can return to full duty?" Diana asked. 6 to 8 weeks, maybe longer. "Make it 4. "Agent Washington, your body needs time." 4 weeks. I have work to do." The doctor sighed. 4 weeks if the physical therapy goes perfectly and you don't re-injure yourself, and that's a big if. 3:02 p.m. While Diana was at the hospital, her team continued working. Sarah Coleman stood in front of a whiteboard mapping connections. Banks branches managers' incidents. The pattern was clear and damning. "Look at this," she said to Marcus. Every branch manager who reported discriminatory practices was transferred or fired within 6 months. Everyone who participated got promoted. It's like they were incentivizing racism. "They were," Marcus replied. "Check this out." He pulled up an email on his laptop. "Performance bonus structure for security heads. They get extra pay for preventing losses and maintaining branch security." Guess how they defined those metrics? Sarah read over his shoulder. "Number of suspicious activity reports filed. number of problem customers removed from premises, number of security interventions. She looked up. They were literally paying them to harass minorities. And Mitchell was their star performer. He got a $50,000 bonus last year. For what? For having the highest number of security interventions in the district. Sarah felt sick. How many people did he hurt? How many Diana Washingtons were there before today? We're going to find out. Every single one. 3:19 p.m. The news had gone national. CNN, Fox, MSNBC all running the story. The video played on repeat, Diana being dragged Mitchell's knee on her back, the badge sliding across the floor. Each network had panels of experts discussing racial profiling, banking discrimination, police brutality. But it was a small detail that went viral on Twitter, the photo from Diana's wallet. Her husband in his army uniform. Someone had zoomed in, enhanced it, shared it with the caption, "Her husband died serving our country. This is how America repaid her." The retweets hit 6 figures within an hour. 3:38 p.m. Stone's confession began at 4 p.m. in a federal interview room, with his lawyer present and a court reporter documenting every word he laid out, the entire system. "It started 5 years ago," he said, his voice hollow. "Corporate sent down new security protocols after a branch in Philadelphia got robbed. But it wasn't really about security. The emails made that clear. They wanted us to protect the brand by keeping out undesirable elements." "Define undesirable elements," Sarah said. "You know what it means. Anyone who didn't fit the image they wanted. Too poor, too loud, too ethnic. And if someone complained, we had a scale. Verbal complaint, offer them a fee waiver or a gift card. Written complaint, maybe a few $100s. Threat of legal action, that's when we'd go up to the thousands. Always with an NDA. Always making it clear that fighting us would cost them more than taking the money." How many people took the money? Stone looked at his hands. Most of them. They needed it, and we knew that. We specifically targeted people who couldn't afford to fight. But Agent Washington could afford to fight. We didn't know she was FBI. If we had, you'd have treated her like a human being. Stone had no answer for that. 4:24 p.m. Diana returned from the hospital to find her office filled with flowers. From fellow agents, from civil rights organizations, from people who'd seen the news and wanted her to know they supported her. One caught her eye, a simple arrangement with a card that read, "Thank you for fighting," the other 67. She sat at her desk, her leg elevated her shoulder, throbbing despite the pain medication, and opened her laptop. 67 NDAs, 67 people who'd been paid to be silent. She started with the first name, Jerome Wallace. It took 3 calls to find him. He answered on the 4th ring. "Mr. Wallace, this is Special Agent Diana Washington with the FBI. I'm calling about your experience at First National Bank." Silence. "Then I signed an NDA. I can't. That NDA is unenforceable. It was used to conceal civil rights violations. You're free to speak." More silence. Then she heard him crying. "They made me feel like nothing," he finally said. "Like I was nobody. Like I didn't deserve to be in that bank. I've never felt so small." "I know," Diana said softly. "They did the same to me, but we're going to make them pay. All of them." Can I help? Can I testify?" "Yes, Mr. Wallace, your testimony would be invaluable." "Then I'll do it. I'll tell everyone what they did." 1 down, 66 to go, 4:52 p.m. By 5 o'clock, Diana had spoken to 12 victims. Each story was the same, but different. The security guard following them, the manager asking for extra ID, the teller claiming their system was down, the hour-long waits, the hostile stares, the random verification calls. And underneath it all, the same message, "You don't belong here." Marcus found her still making calls at 6. "Diana, go home, rest." "I have 43 more people to call. They'll be there tomorrow." "But will my anger still be this hot? Will my determination still be this strong?" She looked up at him. "Right now, I can feel exactly what each of them felt. Right now, I remember every second of Mitchell's knee on my back. I need to use that. I need to channel it while it's fresh." Marcus understood. "Then I'll stay and help. Give me half the list." 5:17 p.m. The bank's stock price had dropped 23% by market close. The board called an emergency meeting. In a conference room high above Manhattan, 12 people in expensive suits tried to figure out how to save their bank. "We fire Mitchell and Stone, obviously," the CFO said. "That's not enough," the general counsel replied. The FBI has the internal memos, they have the bonus structure, they have evidence of systematic discrimination. So what do we do? The CEO, William Crawford, had been silent until now. Finally, he spoke. We claim it was a few bad actors, isolated incidents. We had no knowledge of any systematic wrongdoing. Bill, your signature is on half these memos. Then we claim they were taken out of context, misinterpreted. We were trying to prevent fraud, not target minorities. Do you really think that's going to work? Crawford's face was cold. It has to, because if it doesn't, we're all going to prison. 5:43 p.m. Diana finally agreed to go home, but only because her knee was swelling despite the ice and elevation. Marcus Drover helped her up the stairs to her apartment. It was small, neat, sparse. The only personal touches were photos of James, their wedding, their honeymoon, him in uniform, the flag from his funeral. You sure you'll be okay alone? Marcus asked. I've been alone for 3 years. One more night won't kill me. After he left, Diana sat on her couch, leg-elevated laptop open. She pulled up the video again. Watched herself being dragged across that marble floor. Watched Mitchell's knee press into her back. Watched her badge slide across the floor. But this time she noticed something else. In the background, barely visible, was another security camera. One that would have captured everything from a different angle. One the FBI hadn't seized yet. She grabbed her phone, called Sarah. There's another camera, northwest corner of the lobby, hidden in the smoke detector. It would have caught everything. On it. We'll get a warrant tonight. Diana hung up and closed her eye. Her body hurt, her pride hurt. But underneath the pain was something else. Satisfaction. Because Derek Mitchell was in federal custody. Because Richard Stone was confessing to everything. Because First National Bank was about to learn what happened when you messed with the wrong black woman. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Agent Washington, this is William Crawford, CEO of First National Bank. Diana sat up straighter. Mr. Crawford, I assume you're calling with your lawyer present. Actually, no. This is personal. I wanted to apologize. Save it. Your apology means nothing to me. You knew this was happening. You encouraged it. You profited from it. Agent Washington, I think if we could meet, discuss this reasonably, your security guard put his knee on my back and told me to learn my place. What's reasonable about that? That was Mitchell acting alone. Bullshit. I have the memos, Crawford. I have the emails. I have the bonus structures. I have 67 NDAs. I have everything. Silence. Then, what do you want? Justice. And I'm going to get it. Everyone can be reasonable, Agent Washington. Everyone has a price. Diana laughed cold and sharp. Are you attempting to bribe a federal agent because I'm recording this call? The line went dead. Diana saved the recording, emailed it to Sarah and the U.S. Attorney. Crawford had just added attempted bribery to his list of crimes. 6:21 p.m. The evening news led with the story on every channel. Diana watched from her couch as anchor after anchor recounted the events. But it was the interview with Tyler and Kevin, the college students, that hit hardest. We see these videos all the time, Tyler was saying. Police brutality, racial profiling, discrimination. But seeing it happen right in front of you, being there and watching it unfold, it's different. You realize it's not just videos on the internet. It's real people being hurt every single day. Kevin nodded. What got me was how calm she stayed. Agent Washington, I mean. Even when he was hurting her, she didn't fight back. She just endured it. How many times has she had to endure things like that? How many times do black people have to endure things like that? Every day, Tyler said. The answer is every day. Diana turned off the TV. She couldn't watch anymore. Not tonight. Tonight, she needed to rest, to heal, to prepare. Because tomorrow, the real fight would begin. Tomorrow, she would start dismantling First National Bank piece by piece. Tomorrow, Derek Mitchell would learn exactly what federal prison looked like. Tomorrow, the 67 would have their voices heard. But tonight, Diana Washington sat in her empty apartment looking at a photo of her dead husband and allowed herself to feel the full weight of what had happened. The humiliation, the pain, the rage, the determination. I'm going to get them, James, she whispered to the photo. Every last one of them. Outside, Chicago went about its evening routine. But something had changed. In barber shops and beauty salons, in churches and community centers, in homes and offices, people talked about what had happened at First National Bank. About Diana Washington. About the badge that slid across the floor. About the knee on her back. About the words, "you people." And they decided they'd had enough. The revolution wouldn't be televised, but it would be recorded on 23 cell phones and uploaded to the internet for the world to see. The next morning came too soon. Diana's phone rang at 5:47 a.m., jarring her from restless sleep. Every movement sent fire through her ribs, her shoulders screaming as she reached for the device. "Washington," she answered, voice rough. "Diana, it's Torres. We have a problem. Mitchell's dead." She sat up so fast her ribs nearly made her black out. "What? How?" "Suicide. Guards found him an hour ago. He used his bedsheet." Diana's mind raced. Mitchell was on suicide watch. There should have been no way for him to, unless someone wanted him dead. "That's impossible. He was being monitored." "I know. We're investigating, but Diana, he left a note." What did it say? Just one line. She should have stayed in her place. Even in death, Derek Mitchell couldn't let go of his hatred. Diana threw off her covers, ignoring the pain. "I'm coming in." "Diana, you're on medical leave." "I said I'm coming in." 6:23 a.m. Marcus met her at the Federal Building, took one look at her face, and knew better than to argue. She was moving stiffly, favoring her left side, but her eyes burned with determination. "It wasn't suicide," Diana said immediately. "Someone killed him." "Diana, I know you want..." "Think about it. Mitchell was looking at 20 years, but with a good lawyer, maybe he gets 10, maybe less. He had no reason to kill himself, but he had information. He knew where all the bodies were buried." Marcus considered this. "You think someone silenced him?" "I think someone at First National realized Mitchell might flip to save himself. Stone already did. They couldn't risk Mitchell doing the same." "That's a serious accusation." "Then let's prove it. Get me the surveillance footage from the detention center. Every second from when he was booked until they found him." 7:15 a.m. The detention center footage told a story. At 11:47 p.m., the camera outside Mitchell's cell mysteriously malfunctioned for exactly 3 minutes. When it came back online, nothing seemed different. But Diana noticed something others had missed. "Look at his sheet," she told Marcus, pointing at the grainy footage. "Before the malfunction, it's tucked military style. After, it's loose. Someone was in that cell. Someone with access, someone with authority." Diana pulled up the duty roster. "Who was working last night?" Marcus checked. "Officer Raymond Briggs, 20-year veteran, clean record." He paused. "His brother-in-law works for First National, corporate security." Diana felt the pieces clicking together. "Get a warrant for Briggs's finances. I bet we find a recent large deposit." 7:52 a.m. While teams scrambled to investigate Mitchell's death, Diana focused on the living. She had 67 victims to contact, and she'd only reached 12. She set up in a conference room, leg-elevated phone in hand. Jerome Wallace had agreed to testify. So had Maria Santos, David Kim, and 9 others. But the 13th call changed everything. "Ms. Johnson, this is Agent Diana Washington with the FBI. I know who you are. I saw the news. What they did to you, they did worse to me." Diana straightened. "Worse how?" "I was pregnant. 8 months. I went to First National to open a college fund for my baby. Mitchell didn't just escort me out. He pushed me. I fell. I went into premature labor in the parking lot." "My God, is your baby?" "She survived, but she was in NICU for 2 months, nearly died 3 times. And when I tried to sue, their lawyers buried me, threatened to take my house, my car, everything, if I didn't sign their NDA and take their money." "How much did they give you?" $50,000 for nearly killing my baby. $50,000 and a promise to never tell anyone." Diana's hand tightened on the phone. "Ms. Johnson, that NDA is void. Would you be willing to testify?" "Yes, but I want them to pay, really pay, not just money. I want them in prison." "That's the plan." 8:31 a.m. Crawford's emergency board meeting had been going for 2 hours. 12 executives in a soundproof conference room trying to figure out how to survive the storm. "Mitchell's dead, d'accord," the general counsel announced. "Apparent suicide." Crawford didn't even blink. "Unfortunate, but it simplifies things. Dead men can't testify." "Jesus, Bill," the CFO said. "A man is dead. A liability is neutralized. Now we pin everything on him." Mitchell was a rogue actor traumatized by his police career, acting out his personal prejudices. We had no knowledge of his actions. "What about Stone?" "Stone is a coward. We offer him a better deal than the FBI. He recants claims coercion, and we make his problems go away." "That's witness tampering." Crawford smiled coldly. "Only if someone can prove it." 9:14 a.m. Diana was reviewing Mitchell's personnel file when her phone rang. Unknown number. Agent Washington, you don't know me, but I know you. I work at First National. Corporate level. Who is this? Someone who's tired of watching Crawford destroy lives. I have information, documents, recordings, things that prove this goes all the way to the top. What kind of recordings? Board meetings where they discussed the minority problem. Strategy sessions about fighting discrimination lawsuits. Crawford himself saying, and I quote, "I don't care if they're citizens or not, keep the browns and blacks out of our premium branches." Diana's pulse quickened. Can you get me those recordings? I already have them, but I need protection, witness protection. Crawford has connections everywhere. Done. Where do you want to meet? Union Station, 1 hour. I'll be wearing a red Georgetown University sweatshirt. 10:22 a.m. The meeting almost didn't happen. Diana spotted the tail 3 blocks from Union Station, a black sedan that had been following her since she left the federal building. She called Marcus. I've got company. Black sedan license plate starts with N47. On it. Keep going to the station. We'll intercept. Diana continued watching the sedan in her peripheral vision. It stayed exactly 3 cars back, professional. These weren't amateurs. She entered Union Station, the massive hall bustling with morning commuters. The red Georgetown sweatshirt was at a coffee shop. Young woman, maybe 30, Asian features, nervous energy. Agent Washington? Diana sat down carefully, her ribs protesting. You have something for me? The woman slid a thumb drive across the table. 3 years of recordings. Crawford thought he was being clever, recording everything for quality assurance. He didn't know it had administrator access. Why come forward now? Because I saw what they did to you, and I know what they did to others. My cousin was one of the 67. They made her feel so small she attempted suicide. She survived, but she's never been the same. Diana pocketed the drive. What's your name, Min? Jennifer Liu, and I want them to burn for what they've done. 10:38 a.m. The black sedan's occupants were in federal custody within minutes of Diana leaving Union Station. Private security hired by First National to follow Diana and report on her movements. The driver broke immediately when threatened with federal stalking charges. Crawford hired us personally, said to follow the agent, see who she meets with, report everything back to him. That's witness intimidation, Sarah told Diana over the phone. We can arrest Crawford right now. Not yet. Let's see what's on this drive first. 11:15 a.m. The recordings were damning. Crawford's voice clear and undeniable, laying out strategies to keep undesirable elements out of premium branches. Using coded language at first urban customers as high-risk demographics, then as he got comfortable dropping all pretense. I don't give a shit if it's illegal, Crawford said in one recording from 6 months ago. What are they going to do, sue us? We have 50 lawyers. They have what some public defender pay them off and move on. Another executive's voice. But what if someone doesn't take the money, Kyle? Crawford, then Mitchell handles it. That's what we pay him for. Diana played another recording, this one from just 2 weeks ago. Crawford, the Washington situation needs to be contained. Unknown voice. She's FBI's, Crawford. I don't care if she's the president. Nobody threatens my bank. Find leverage. Everyone has something to hide. They knew who I was, Gwelquin, Diana said to Marcus. 2 weeks ago, they knew I was FBI and they were already planning something. This changes everything. This is conspiracy. This is organized crime. 11:47 a.m. U.S. Attorney Martinez called an emergency meeting. The conference room filled with FBI agents, DOJ lawyers, and federal prosecutors. We have enough to bring RICO charges, Martinez announced. This isn't just discrimination. It's a criminal organization using systematic discrimination as a business model. RICO, Diana asked. Against a bank. Against a criminal enterprise masquerading as a bank. The discrimination was just one part. Jennifer Liu's recordings also captured discussions of money laundering, tax evasion, and broken bribery of public officials. Diana felt a savage satisfaction. RICO charges meant asset forfeiture. First National could be completely dismantled. When do we move? She asked. Tonight. Simultaneous arrests at 17 locations. Crawford, the entire board, senior management, and anyone else involved in the conspiracy. At 23 p.m., Stone's lawyer called. His client wanted to amend his statement in light of Mitchell's death. My client fears for his life, the lawyer said. He believes Mitchell was murdered to silence him. Sarah took the call on speaker so Diana could hear. What does your client want? Immediate protective custody and relocation after testimony. In exchange, he'll provide evidence of Crawford ordering Mitchell to target specific customers, including Agent Washington. He has evidence. Emails, text messages, recorded phone calls. Mitchell was paranoid about being thrown under the bus, so he recorded everything. Diana leaned toward the speaker. Where are these recordings? Mitchell kept them on a burner phone, hidden in his apartment. Address, now? Watch for 15 p.m. Mitchell's apartment was exactly what Diana expected. Sparse military neat with an undercurrent of rage barely contained. Photos from his police days covered one wall. Commendations newspaper clippings of arrests he'd made always of black or Hispanic suspects. Marcus found the burner phone taped inside the toilet tank. Classy, he muttered, pulling it out with gloved hands. The phone had everything. Crawford texting Mitchell directly, "The Washington woman is becoming a problem. Handle it." Mitchell responding, "How aggressive, Crawford, whatever it takes. Just make sure it looks legitimate." He ordered the assault, Diana said quietly. Crawford specifically ordered Mitchell to assault me. There was more. Lists of customers to target, bonus payments for successful removals, a whole shadow operation running parallel to the legitimate bank. Marcus held up another phone. This one, an iPhone. You need to hear this. He played a voicemail from the night before Mitchell died. Crawford's voice cold and clear. "Derek, you've become a liability. I suggest you consider all your options. All of them." "That's a murder threat," Diana said. Crawford threatened him, and when Mitchell didn't kill himself fast enough, Crawford had him killed. 2:03 p.m. Officer Raymond Briggs was arrested at his home, his bank account showing a deposit of $100,000 made 6 hours after Mitchell's death. He lasted 15 minutes in interrogation before confessing. Crawford's people approached me, said Mitchell was going to bring down a lot of good people, said it would be better for everyone if he wasn't around to testify. So you killed him. I didn't pull the trigger, I just looked the other way. Let someone else into the cell. I don't know who. They wore a guard uniform, had the right credentials. I was told not to ask questions. Told by who? Briggs was sweating now. I don't know his name. He said he worked for people who could make my life very difficult or very comfortable. I chose comfortable. 2:41 p.m. Crawford was in his office, top floor of First National's headquarters, when his phone rang. Private number. "Bill, it's me," the voice said. "We have a problem. The FBI has the recordings." Crawford's hand tightened on the phone. "Which recordings?" "All of them. That bitch Jennifer Liu from IT, she downloaded everything and gave it to Washington." Crawford was quiet for a long moment. Through his floor-to-ceiling windows, he could see federal vehicles surrounding his building. "How long do I have?" "They're in the lobby now." Crawford opened his desk drawer, pulled out a .38 revolver he kept there. He looked at it for a long moment, then put it back. "Tell my lawyer I'll need him at the federal building." "Bill, there's another option. We have a plane ready. You could be in a non-extradition country by tonight." "No, running makes me look guilty." "You are guilty." "But they have to prove it." 3:00 p.m. The arrest was beautifully orchestrated. FBI agents swept into First National's headquarters like an invading army. 17 simultaneous arrests across 6 states. Crawford was taken in handcuffs from his office, marched past hundreds of employees who'd gathered to watch. Diana watched from the federal building, her leg elevated ice on her ribs. She'd wanted to be there for the arrest, but Torres overruled her. "You've done enough. Let us finish it." The news broke immediately. Every network interrupted regular programming. Breaking: First National Bank CEO arrested on RICO charges. Crawford's perp walk was broadcast live. He kept his head up, expression neutral, like this was just another business meeting. But Diana saw the fear in his eyes when he looked directly at one camera. He knew she was watching. "Got you," she whispered. 3:37 p.m. Jennifer Liu was in witness protection within hours, but not before giving one final gift to the investigation. She'd saved everything, every email, every memo, every recording to multiple cloud servers. "There's something else," she told Diana over a secure line. "Crawford has a second set of books. Real accounting that shows where the money from the discrimination settlements really went. Where? Offshore accounts, but also political campaigns. He was buying protection, senators, congressmen, state officials, anyone who might investigate the bank." "Names. I need names." Jennifer gave them. 15 politicians who'd taken Crawford's money, 3 judges, 2 state attorneys general. The corruption ran deeper than even Diana had imagined. 4:18 p.m. Estelle Parker sat in Diana's office at the federal building, having insisted on coming to provide her statement in person. "I've been banking at First National for 32 years, she said. I've seen things, documented them too. She pulled out a leather journal, pages yellow with age. Every incident I witnessed. Dates, times, names. I started keeping track in 1992. Diana flipped through the journal. Hundreds of entries. Decades of discrimination meticulously documented by a woman everyone had overlooked. Mrs. Parker, this is evidence of a 30-year pattern. Honey, it goes back further than that. My mother banked there in the 60s. They called it redlining then. Different name, same hate. Why didn't you ever come forward before? Estelle's eyes were sad but determined. Who would have listened to an old black woman? But they can't ignore you. You have a badge. You have power. Use it. 4:52 p.m. Crawford's lawyer, a $2,000 an hour defense attorney named Richard Blackstone, held a press conference on the federal courthouse steps. My client is innocent of all charges. This is a witch hunt orchestrated by a disgruntled FBI agent with a personal vendetta. Agent Washington's assault was unfortunate, but it was the action of a single troubled individual, not a conspiracy. A reporter shouted, "What about the recordings? Taken out of context and possibly doctored. We'll prove that in court." What about Mitchell's death? A tragedy, but unrelated to my client. Mr. Mitchell took his own life rather than face the consequences of his actions. Diana watched from her office, Marcus beside her. He's going to claim Mitchell was the mastermind, Marcus said. Let him try. We have Crawford on tape ordering the assault. 5:31 p.m. The first dominoes began to fall. 3 board members flipped immediately, offering to testify against Crawford in exchange for reduced sentences. Then middle management started breaking. By evening 47, First National employees had contacted the FBI offering information in exchange for immunity. Sarah Coleman was overwhelmed. We need more agents. This is bigger than anyone imagined. Torres made the call. Within hours, agents from across the country were flying to Chicago. This had become the largest banking discrimination case in U.S. history. 6:15 p.m. Diana finally went home exhausted and in pain, but she couldn't rest. The 67 victims deserved to know what was happening. She spent the evening calling each one. Ms. Johnson, it's Agent Washington. I wanted you to know Crawford was arrested today. She heard crying on the other end. Thank you, thank you. My baby, she's 3 now. She still has breathing problems from being premature. I wanted to give up so many times, but I couldn't. And now there's justice. It's not over yet. We need you to testify. I'll be there, we all will. 7:47 p.m. Diana's phone rang. Unknown number. Agent Washington, this is Senator Patricia Hartley. Diana recognized the name, one of the politicians on Jennifer Liu's list. Senator, interesting timing for a call. I understand you have some misconceptions about my relationship with First National Bank. I have records of you receiving $2.7 million in campaign contributions from shell companies linked to Crawford. Silence. Then, perhaps we could meet? Discuss this like reasonable people. Are you attempting to influence a federal investigation, Senator? I'm attempting to correct the record. Crawford donated to many campaigns. That doesn't imply corruption? No, but voting against banking regulations 3 days after receiving his money does. The senator hung up. Diana added another charge to her list: political corruption. 8:23 p.m. Marcus called with news that made Diana's blood run cold. We found the man who killed Mitchell, professional hitman out of Detroit. He's in the wind, but we have his identity. Let me guess, paid through one of Crawford's offshore accounts. You got it. Crawford didn't just order Mitchell's death. He paid for it. That's capital murder, Diana. He could get the death penalty. Diana thought about Mitchell racist and violent as he was being murdered in his cell to protect Crawford's empire. He was a bastard, but he didn't deserve that. No one does. We'll find the hitman. Crawford's going to pay for all of it. 9:15 p.m. The story had gone international. BBC, Al Jazeera, NHK, everyone was covering it. The video of Diana's assault had been viewed over 100 million times. She'd become a symbol whether she wanted it or not. Her phone buzzed with a text from a number she didn't recognize. A photo appeared graffiti on a wall in Paris. Diana Washington Hero in bright red letters. Then another from Tokyo. A protest outside a bank, signs reading "Banking while black is not a crime" in Japanese and English. Another from London, another from Sydney. The whole world was watching. 9:52 p.m. Crawford made bail. $50 million, the highest ever set in a financial crimes case. He walked out of federal custody at 10 p.m., his lawyer beside him, and went straight to a waiting limousine. Inside the car, he made a call. It's me. Washington needs to have an accident. That's not smart, Bill. She's too high profile now. I don't care. She destroyed everything I built. She needs to pay. And if something happens to her, everyone will know it was you. Then make it look good. Make it look random. The voice on the other end sighed. This is a mistake. Just do it. 10:31 p.m. Diana was getting ready for bed when her doorbell rang. She checked the security camera, no one there. But there was a package on her doorstep. She called the bomb squad. The package contained photos. Her apartment from various angles. Her walking to her car. Her at the grocery store. At the bottom, a note, "You're not safe anywhere." Torres put a security detail on her immediately. Crawford's lost it. He's going to try something. Let him, Diana said. Every move he makes is another charge. Another nail in his coffin. 11:15 p.m. Jennifer Liu called from her safe house. Agent Washington, I remembered something. Crawford has a safe in his office, behind the painting of the bank's founder. He thought no one knew about it, but it had to install electronic locks last year. I have the override code. What's in it? I don't know, but he was paranoid about it. Checked it every morning and night. Whatever's in there, it's important. Diana called Sarah. Get a warrant for Crawford's office safe. Tonight. 11:58 p.m. The safe contained everything. Photos of Crawford with politicians, judges, police commissioners, many in compromising positions. Blackmail material. And something else, a leather journal handwritten dating back 20 years. Diana read the first entry, "The Browns and Blacks are getting too comfortable. Time to remind them who really owns this country." It was Crawford's manifesto. Page after page of racist ideology, plans to use the banking system to enforce racial hierarchies to keep minorities in their place. It was the written confession of a man who'd turned a bank into a weapon of oppression. My God, Sarah said, reading over Diana's shoulder. He actually wrote it all down. Ego, Diana replied. He thought he was untouchable, thought he was making history. He was, just not the kind he intended. As midnight passed and a new day began, Diana Washington sat in a federal office building surrounded by evidence boxes, witness statements, and the crushed remains of William Crawford's empire. Her body hurt. Her pride had been wounded, but she'd won the first round. The war, however, was just beginning. Crawford had money lawyers' connections. He'd fight with everything he had. But Diana had something more powerful, the truth. The evidence and the voices of 67 people who refused to be silenced anymore. She picked up her phone, scrolled through the messages from supporters around the world, from the other victims, from strangers who'd faced their own Derek Mitchells and William Crawfords. Tomorrow would bring more battles, more pain, more challenges. But tonight, for the first time in 3 years since James died, Diana Washington felt something she'd thought was lost forever. Purpose. She was exactly where she needed to be, doing exactly what she was meant to do. And William Crawford was about to learn what happened when you told the wrong black woman to learn her place. She pulled up the photo of James on her phone, his smile bright in his army uniform. I'm fighting, baby, she whispered. Just like you taught me. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jerome Wallace, the first of the 67, to agree to testify. We're with you, Agent Washington, all the way. Then another from Maria Santos, then David Kim, then all 67, one after another, pledging to stand up, speak out, and fight back. Diana smiled despite the pain in her split lip. Crawford thought he'd broken her. Instead, he'd created an army, and tomorrow that army would march. The army Diana had assembled began marching at dawn. 3 weeks had passed since Crawford's arrest, 3 weeks of depositions, evidence gathering, and blatant legal maneuvering. Diana's injuries had mostly healed, though her ribs still ached when she breathed too deep. Today was the preliminary hearing, and all 67 victims had come to Chicago. 7:23 a.m., Federal Courthouse. Jerome Wallace stood outside the courthouse wearing his best suit, hands trembling slightly as he spoke to reporters. They made me feel like a criminal for trying to deposit my own paycheck. Today, I get to tell my story to a judge. Maria Santos held her 3-year-old daughter, the one who'd nearly died after Mitchell pushed her. My baby still uses an inhaler because of what they did. Crawford needs to pay for every breath she struggles to take. Diana arrived in a black SUV security detail surrounding her. The threats had continued daily. Crawford's people had made it clear she wasn't safe, but she refused to hide. Agent Washington, reporters surged forward. Any comment before the hearing? Diana stopped, turned to the cameras. 67 people were terrorized, humiliated, and silenced by First National Bank. Today, their silence ends. Today, William Crawford learns what justice looks like. 7:45 a.m. Judges' Chambers. Judge Marilyn Foster, 73 years old, Harvard Law first black woman, appointed to the federal bench in Illinois, reviewed the evidence privately before the hearing. Her clerk, a young Pakistani woman named Amara, gasped as she read Crawford's journal. "Your Honor, this is..." "Evil," Judge Foster finished. "In 40 years on the bench, I've never seen anything quite like this. Systematic, deliberate, documented evil." "Crawford's lawyers are claiming the journal was planted." Judge Foster's eyes flashed. "Of course they are. They'll claim anything to save him. But I've seen the handwriting analysis. It's his." 8:15 a.m. Holding cell. Crawford sat with his legal team, 5 lawyers in suits that cost more than most people's cars. Richard Blackstone, his lead attorney, was laying out strategy. "We discredit Washington first. She was emotionally unstable after her husband's death. The assault triggered PTSD. She's seeing conspiracies that don't exist." Crawford nodded. "What about the recordings?" "We claim they're deepfakes, AI-generated. Technology's advanced enough now that we can create reasonable doubt." And Mitchell. "Suicide, guilty conscience. He was the real racist, you were just an unfortunate bystander." Crawford smiled coldly. "Perfect. Destroy them all." 8:32 a.m. Courtroom. The courtroom was packed. Media in the back rows, victims in the front, FBI agents and prosecutors at their table. Crawford entered in a $5,000 suit, head high, like he was walking into a board meeting. Diana watched him, remembering his knee on her back, his words echoing, "You people need to learn your place." Her hands clenched involuntarily. "All rise," the bailiff called. Judge Foster entered her presence, commanding immediate respect. "Be seated. We're here for preliminary hearings in United States versus William Crawford et al., Mr. Blackstone. I understand you have motions." "Yes, Your Honor. Motion to dismiss all charges based on lack of evidence and prosecutorial misconduct." Prosecutorial misconduct? Judge Foster's eyebrow raised. "Explain?" "Agent Washington conducted a vendetta against my client following an unfortunate incident with a security guard. She fabricated evidence, coerced witnesses, and created a conspiracy where none existed." U.S. Attorney Martinez stood. "Your Honor, that's absurd. We have recordings document 67 victims." "Alleged victims," Blackstone interrupted. "People who took money from the bank and are now breaking legal NDAs to pile on for more money." Diana felt rage building in her chest. These people had been terrorized, and Blackstone was painting them as opportunists. 8:51 a.m. First witness. The prosecution calls Jennifer Liu. Jennifer entered from witness protection, flanked by U.S. Marshals. She looked terrified, but determined. "Miss Liu," Martinez began. "You worked in IT at First National." "Yes, 5 years." "Tell us about the recordings you provided to the FBI." Jennifer's voice grew stronger. "Crawford required all board meetings to be recorded. He said it was for transparency, but really it was so he could keep track of who said what, who might betray him." "Objection." Blackstone stood. "Speculation about my client's motives." "Sustained." "Stick to facts, Ms. Liu." Jennifer nodded. "I have administrative access to all recordings. I saved them when I realized what was happening." Martinez played one of the recordings. Crawford's voice filled the courtroom. "I don't care if that black bitch is FBI. She steps foot in my bank again, Mitchell handles her permanently." Gasps rippled through the gallery. Crawford's face remained expressionless. "That's not my client's voice," Blackstone said calmly. "That's an AI deepfake." "Your Honor." Martinez responded, "We have 3 independent audio experts who verified on it. Save it for trial," Judge Foster said. "Continue." 9:18 a.m. The bombshell. Jennifer pulled out a USB drive. "There's something else, something I didn't give the FBI initially because I was scared." Even Diana looked surprised. "What's on that drive, Ms. Liu?" Martinez asked. "Video from Crawford's private office. He had a hidden camera system even IT didn't know about officially, but I found it during a system update." "Objection." Blackstone was on his feet. "This is ambush evidence we haven't had time to review. Your Honor, Martinez said we just received this ourselves." Judge Foster considered. "I'll allow it, but the defense gets time to review before cross-examination. Play it." The video showed Crawford's office 3 months ago. Crawford was on the phone, pacing. "Mitchell fucked up," Crawford said to whoever was on the other line. "That woman he roughed up last month, she filed a complaint with the CFPB. No, I don't care if she's right. Find dirt on her. Check her credit, her family, everything. If we can't discredit her, we disappear her." The courtroom was dead silent. The video continued. And increase the settlements, $50,000 minimum to anyone Mitchell handles. We can't have another Trayvon Martin situation, bad for stock prices. Your Honor, Blackstone's voice had lost its confidence. We need to verify the authenticity. You'll have your chance, Judge Foster said. Her disgust was barely concealed. 9:42 a.m., Crawford's mistake. During a recess, Crawford grabbed Blackstone's arm. That video is real. You need to make it go away. How the hell am I supposed to do that? I don't care. Bribe someone. Threaten someone. That video cannot be entered into evidence. What Crawford didn't know, was that Diana had placed a recording device under the defense table. Every word was being captured. 10:15 a.m., Jerome Wallace testifies. Jerome took the stand, his dignity intact despite years of humiliation. I'm a teacher, he said. 7th grade mathematics. I've never been arrested, never been in trouble, but when I walked into First National to deposit my paycheck, they treated me like I'd robbed the place. What happened exactly? Martinez asked. The teller said my check looked suspicious, called the manager. The manager called security. Mitchell arrived, asked me where I got the check, like I'd stolen it, from my own employer. How long were you detained? 2 hours in a back room. Mitchell standing over me, hand on his weapon, while they verified a check I'd been depositing there for 3 years. Why didn't you sue? Jerome's voice cracked. They offered me $15,000 and said if I didn't take it, they'd make sure every bank in Chicago knew I was a problem customer. I have a family, bills. I took the money and felt like I'd sold my soul. Crawford whispered something to Blackstone, who stood. Mr. Wallace, isn't it true you were fired from your previous teaching position? Objection, Martinez said. Relevance? Goes to credibility, Your Honor. I'll allow it. Jerome's jaw tightened. I was laid off due to budget cuts, along with 40 other teachers. But you were chosen for layoffs. Why? I had the least seniority. Or perhaps there were performance issues. Diana watched Jerome's dignity being attacked and felt her rage building. This was Crawford's strategy, destroy every victim's reputation. 10:43 a.m. The hitman speaks. Martinez stood. Your Honor, we have a new witness, via video link from federal custody in Detroit. On the screen appeared Marcus Thompson, the hitman who'd killed Mitchell. He'd been caught 12 hours ago, agreed to testify for a reduced sentence. Mr. Thompson, Martinez began, who hired you to kill Derek Mitchell? I was contacted by a middleman, Vincent Russo. He works for Crawford. Objection hearsay. Mr. Thompson, do you have proof of this connection? Thompson smiled coldly. Check my phone. Russo sent me Mitchell's location, the guard rotation, and half the payment. $100,000 from an account linked to Crawford Enterprises. Crawford's face had gone pale. Blackstone was frantically writing notes. Why did they want Mitchell dead? They said he was unstable, might talk, might bring down important people. Did they specifically mention Mr. Crawford? Russo said, the boss wants this handled before Mitchell ruins everything. 11:16 a.m. Maria Santos's testimony. Maria took the stand holding her daughter's inhaler. My baby almost died because I tried to open a college fund. How does that make sense? How does any of this make sense? She looked directly at Crawford. You sat in your office counting money while my daughter fought for every breath. You knew what Mitchell was doing and you encouraged it. Miss Santos. Blackstone began his cross-examination. Isn't it true you were involved in a custody dispute at the time? What does that have to do with anything? Perhaps you were emotional aggressive. Perhaps Mr. Mitchell was simply responding to erratic behavior. I was 8 months pregnant. Maria's voice rose. How aggressive could I be? Pregnant women can be very emotional. Your Honor, Martinez objected. This is offensive and irrelevant. Judge Foster's eyes were ice. Mr. Blackstone, you're walking a very thin line. Move on. 11:45 a.m. The secret recording. Diana was called to testify about the recording device under the defense table. She walked to the stand, each step deliberate, controlled. Agent Washington, Martinez said, did you place a recording device under the defense table? Yes. Why? Crawford has a pattern of witness intimidation and evidence tampering. I wanted to ensure we captured any attempts to obstruct justice. Your Honor, this is outrageous, Blackstone shouted. Attorney-client privilege. Doesn't apply to ongoing criminal conspiracy, Judge Foster said. Play the recording. Crawford's voice filled the courtroom. That video is real. You need to make it go away. Bribe someone. Threaten someone. The courtroom erupted. Reporters typed frantically. Crawford's board members in the gallery exchanged panicked looks. Your Honor, Martinez said, based on this recording, we're adding charges of attempted obstruction of justice and witness tampering. 15 p.m. Lunch recess drama. During lunch recess, Diana walked to the bathroom. Two women were already inside, wives of Crawford's board members. That black bitch is destroying everything, one said, not knowing Diana was in a stall. Bill was just trying to maintain standards. These people always want handouts, the other agreed. Now they'll bankrupt the bank with lawsuits. Diana stepped out of the stall. Both women froze. These people, Diana said quietly, include decorated FBI agents, teachers, doctors, and military veterans. The only handout we wanted was to be treated like human beings. She washed her hands slowly, maintaining eye contact in the mirror. Your husbands are going to prison, and you'll have to live with knowing you supported monsters. She left them standing there, speechless. 1:30 p.m., the smoking gun. After lunch, Martinez introduced a new piece of evidence. Your Honor, we've just received this from the medical examiner who performed Mitchell's autopsy. Objection, this is Mr. Blackstone, sit down, Judge Foster said. Continue, Ms. Martinez. The medical examiner found evidence of struggle, defensive wounds on Mitchell's hands, injection site on his neck. This wasn't suicide, it was murder. She presented the report. The toxicology showed paralytic agents in his system. Someone paralyzed him, then staged the hanging. Crawford's hands were shaking now. Blackstone whispered urgently in his ear. Furthermore, Martinez continued, we've traced the paralytic agent. It was purchased using a prescription pad stolen from Northwestern Memorial Hospital. The purchaser was caught on pharmacy surveillance. She played the video. Vincent Russo, clear as day, buying the drugs that killed Mitchell. Mr. Russo was arrested an hour ago, Martinez announced. He's agreed to testify against Mr. Crawford in exchange for avoiding the death penalty. 2:03 p.m., Crawford breaks. Crawford suddenly stood. This is bullshit, all of it. That bitch came into my bank. Mr. Crawford, sit down, Judge Foster ordered. No, you don't understand. These people, they're destroying America. They want to take everything we've built. Mr. Crawford, Blackstone grabbed his arm. Crawford shoved him away. I did what needed to be done to protect our civilization from its officers restrain the defendant. As court officers moved in, Crawford pointed at Diana. Chip happy. You think you've won. I have friends everywhere, judges, senators, police commissioners. You'll never be safe. None of you monkeys will ever. The officers tackled him. As they dragged him out, he kept screaming racial slurs, his mask finally completely off. The courtroom sat in stunned silence. Judge Foster cleared her throat. Mr. Blackstone, I assume you'll be requesting a psychological evaluation for your client. Blackstone, looking defeated, nodded. Yes, Your Honor. 2:31 p.m. The victims speak. One by one, the 67 victims took the stand. Each story built on the last, creating a tapestry of systematic racism that no one could deny. David Kim, software engineer. They made me provide 6 forms of ID to cash a check for my own company. Jasmine Brown, nurse. Mitchell followed me to my car, said he needed to verify I hadn't stolen anything. Tefuru, Carlos Mendez construction company owner. They closed my business account without warning, said I was high risk despite perfect credit. Each testimony chipped away at Crawford's defense. By the 40th victim, several jury pool members were crying. 3:47 p.m., the inside man. Vincent Russo appeared via video link from federal custody. He looked terrified. Mr. Russo, Martinez began, you worked for William Crawford for how long? 15 years. Started as security, worked my way up to special operations. What were special operations? Handling problems. If someone wouldn't sign an NDA, I'd visit them, explain the consequences of not cooperating. Did you ever use violence? I never had to. The threat was enough, until Mitchell. Tell us about Mitchell's murder. Russo's voice dropped. Crawford called me directly, said Mitchell was cracking, might testify, said to handle it permanently. Those were his exact words, handle it permanently. Yes. He even specified how. Make it look like suicide. Said Mitchell was weak enough to be believed. How much were you paid? $200,000 plus expenses. Crawford's remaining lawyers were whispering frantically. Their client had confessed on live recording, and now his hitman was confirming everything. 4:15 p.m., Diana's final testimony. Diana returned to the stand for redirect examination. Martinez approached carefully. Agent Washington, how has this affected you? Diana was quiet for a moment. I've been an FBI agent for 12 years. I've taken down drug cartels, terrorist cells, organized crime families, but nothing prepared me for being attacked for existing while black. The defense claims you orchestrated this for personal gain. What gain? I have death threats daily. My career is now forever linked to this case. I can't go anywhere without security. If I wanted gain, I would have taken Crawford's bribe. He tried to bribe you 3 times. First through intermediaries, then personally. The last offer was $10 million. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Why didn't you take it? Diana looked directly at the jury pool. Because 67 people were terrorized and paid to shut up about it. Because Derek Mitchell died to keep Crawford's secrets. Because somewhere right now, another black person is being followed through a store, questioned at their own job, made to feel less than human. Money can't fix that. Only justice can. 4:45 p.m., the verdict. Judge Foster had seen enough. Based on the evidence presented, I find sufficient cause to proceed to trial on all charges with the addition of capital murder for the death of Derek Mitchell. Your Honor, a new voice spoke from the gallery. Senator Patricia Hartley stood. I'd like to make a statement. Senator, you're not a party to this case. I'm on Crawford's list. He donated to my campaigns. I voted against banking regulations because of those donations. I'm here to confess my part in enabling this system. The courtroom exploded again. Reporters rushed out to file stories. Crawford's empire wasn't just crumbling, it was taking down everyone connected to it. 5:23 p.m., the aftermath. Outside the courthouse, Diana stood before hundreds of supporters. The 67 victims surrounded her, their faces showing relief, vindication, triumph. This isn't over, Diana said into the microphones. Crawford will go to trial. He'll be convicted, but the system that created him, that enabled him, that protected him, that system still exists. We have to tear it all down. Agent Washington, a reporter called out, Crawford's assets have been frozen. First National Bank stock has crashed. Thousands of employees might lose their jobs. Do you feel responsible? Diana's response was swift. Crawford is responsible. The board that enabled him is responsible. The system that allowed this to happen is responsible. Those employees were working for a criminal enterprise whether they knew it or not. What's next for you? Healing, then fighting. There are more Crawfords out there, more First Nationals. We're coming for all of them. 6:00 p.m., the threat. As Diana walked to her car surrounded by security, her phone rang. Unknown number. You've made powerful enemies, Agent Washington. The voice was disguised electronic. Crawford was small fish. The people above him won't forgive this. Let them come, Diana said. I've got 67 warriors beside me and a federal badge in my pocket. We're not afraid anymore. You should be. Your husband wasn't the only soldier who can die for his country. The line went dead. Diana's blood chilled, but she didn't let her security team see her fear. 6:30 p.m. Home. Stokiki. Diana finally made it home exhausted but victorious. She sat on her couch, James's photo in her hand. We did it, baby, she whispered. We started something. Crawford's going down. His whole network is collapsing. Her phone buzzed. Text from Jerome Wallace. Thank you for giving us our voices back. Then Maria Santos. My daughter breathed easier today knowing justice exists. Then all 67, one after another, thanking her, promising to continue fighting. But the last text made her freeze. A photo of her apartment building from across the street. Current taken within the last hour. The message, you're not as protected as you think. Diana walked to her window, looked out. A black sedan sat parked across the street. As she watched, it started its engine and slowly drove away. She called Marcus. They're watching me, Crawford's people, or someone else they're watching. I'm sending additional units now. Diana, maybe you should... I'm not running. I'm not hiding. Let them watch. Let them see I'm not afraid. But as she sat back down holding James's photo, she was afraid. Not for herself, but for the 67 people who'd trusted her, who'd stood up because she'd shown them it was possible. Crawford was just the beginning. The real war was coming, and Diana Washington would be ready for it. The black sedan returned every night for a week, always parking in a different spot, always with tinted windows that revealed nothing. Diana documented everything photographed, every appearance, but the plates were fake, changing each time. The real war had begun, and it was being fought in shadows. 6:47 a.m., 1 week after the hearing. Diana's phone rang before dawn. Torres, her supervisor, sounded grim. Crawford's dead. She sat up so fast her still healing ribs protested. What? How? Heart attack in his cell. At least that's the official story. That's impossible. He just had a physical for the bail hearing. Perfect health. I know. But the prison doctor already signed the death certificate, natural causes. Diana was already getting dressed. They killed him, just like Mitchell. Someone doesn't want him testifying. Diana, be careful. If they killed Crawford in federal custody, you're not safe anywhere. 7:23 a.m., federal building. The evidence room had been ransacked. Someone with high-level clearance had entered during the night shift and destroyed half the physical evidence against First National's board members. Security footage showed nothing. The cameras had been disabled for exactly 43 minutes. Marcus met Diana at the scene. This was professional. Someone on the inside. Crawford was right about one thing, Diana said, staring at the destroyed boxes. His friends are everywhere. Sarah Coleman arrived face pale. It gets worse. 3 of our witnesses have retracted their statements. They say they were coerced, that you threatened them. That's impossible. I have recordings of every interview. The recordings are gone, deleted from our servers, even the backups. Diana felt the walls closing in. Someone with serious power was systematically destroying her case. What about Jennifer Liu? Safe House was hit last night. She's alive but terrified, won't testify anymore. 8:15 a.m., Torres's office. I'm pulling you off the case, Torres said, not meeting Diana's eyes. What? You can't... I've got orders from D.C. This comes from the director himself. You're too close, too emotionally involved. Too emotionally involved, they assaulted me, they put a knee on my back. Which is exactly why you can't be objective. Agent Patterson will take over. Patterson? Young, ambitious, and coincidentally his father was a major First National shareholder. Diana saw the setup immediately. They got to you, she said quietly. How much did they pay you? Torres's face flushed. How dare you? A week ago you told me to make them pay. Now Crawford's dead and you're pulling me off. What did they threaten you with? Torres pulled out a photo from his desk. His daughter at her college campus taken with a telephoto lens. This arrived this morning. No note needed. Diana understood. They weren't just fighting Crawford's network anymore. They were fighting something much bigger. 9:03 a.m., parking garage. Diana was walking to her car when she heard footsteps behind her. 3 men in suits moving with purpose. She reached for her weapon. Agent Washington Hogdon, the tallest one, said, holding up his hands. We're not here to hurt you. We need to talk. FBI, show me your credentials. We're not FBI. We're something else. People who want the same thing you want. Which is to expose the whole truth. Crawford wasn't the top. He was middle management. Diana kept her hand on her weapon. Keep talking. There's a meeting tonight, midnight, Warehouse District. People who've been fighting the system for decades. We want you there. That sounds like a setup for my murder. The man smiled grimly. If we wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. We're the reason you're still alive. Who do you think has been watching that black sedan? He handed her a burner phone. Midnight. Come alone or don't come at all. 10:30 a.m., Diana's apartment. She found Estelle Parker waiting in her lobby, the elderly woman looking frailer than she had in court, but her eyes still fierce. Mrs. Parker, what are you doing here? They came to my home last night, Estelle said. 3 men. Told me to forget everything I saw, everything I said. Told me my grandchildren might have accidents if I didn't. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. No, child, this is their fault. But I'm not here to quit. I'm here to tell you something I didn't mention before. Diana led her upstairs, checking for surveillance as they went. My husband worked at First National, Estelle said once they were inside. 40 years ago. He was a janitor, but he saw things. Documented things. Before he died, he gave me a safety deposit box key. Said to only open it if the bank ever came after our family. She pulled out an old key. I opened it yesterday. Agent Washington, this conspiracy goes back to the 1960s. Crawford's father, his grandfather, they built this system. It's generational. 15 a.m. The safety deposit box. The box was at a small credit union, not First National. Inside were photographs, documents, recordings on old cassette tapes. Diana went through them with growing horror. Photos of lynchings attended by bank executives in the 1960s. Documents showing redlining policies. Recordings of meetings where they discussed keeping the colored out of white neighborhoods by denying loans. My God, Diana whispered. This is evidence of crimes going back 60 years. My husband recorded them for 20 years, Estelle said. They never knew the janitor had a tape recorder in his cart. One recording from 1982 made Diana's blood run cold. William Crawford's father saying, my son William understands. The bank is our weapon against integration. Always has been, always will be. 12:45 p.m. Marcus's call. Diana, you need to see the news. She turned on her TV. Breaking news banner, FBI agent accused of evidence tampering in First National case. Patterson was on screen, clean-cut and earnest. We've discovered that Agent Washington planted evidence, coerced witnesses, and may have been involved in William Crawford's death. She's been suspended pending investigation. Diana's phone exploded with calls. She ignored them all except one. Ms. Washington, it was Jerome Wallace. We don't believe them. None of us do. The 67 are standing with you. They'll come after all of you now. Then we'll fight together? We're meeting tonight. All of us. Will you come? She thought about the mysterious meeting at midnight. I'll try. 2:00 p.m. The setup. Diana arrived at FBI headquarters to find her office sealed. Her badge confiscated, her gun taken. Patterson stood there with a smirk. You went too hard, Washington. Made it personal. Now you're done. You know Crawford was murdered. I know he had a heart condition and the stress got to him. Tragic, really. His network paid you off. Patterson leaned close. Prove it. Oh, wait, you can't. All the evidence seems to have disappeared. Security escorted Diana out. As she walked through the lobby, other agents avoided eye contact. Some looked ashamed, others relieved. The system was protecting itself. 3:30 p.m., the victims' rally. Diana arrived at St. Augustine's Church to find all 67 victims assembled, plus hundreds more. Word had spread. Everyone who'd ever been discriminated against by First National was there. Maria Santos stood at the front, her daughter on her hip. They want us to be quiet again. They want us to disappear again. Are we going to let them? No, go! The crowd roared. Agent Washington risked everything for us. Now they're trying to destroy her. Are we going to let them? No. Jerome Wallace took the microphone. I'm done being afraid. They can threaten me. They can come after me, but I'm going to tell the truth. Who's with me? Every hand went up. Diana felt tears she hadn't shed in 3 years. You don't have to do this. They're dangerous. So are we, David Kim said. When we stand together, we're dangerous to their whole system. 4:45 p.m., the evidence lives. Jennifer Liu appeared on a secure video call, her location hidden. Agent Washington, I have backups they don't know about. Everything. Every recording, every document, every email. I uploaded it all to servers in 12 countries. Jennifer, they'll kill you if they find out. They'll try, but I'm done being afraid too. I'm releasing everything to WikiLeaks in 6 hours unless they reinstate you and drop the false charges. That's blackmail. That's justice. The same kind they've been serving us for decades. 6:00 p.m., the media war. Nora Kim from Channel 7 went live with a special report. She'd been investigating independently and found something huge. Patterson, the FBI agent now leading the First National case, received a $5 million deposit in an offshore account 3 days ago. We have the documents. The story exploded across social media. #Justice for Diana started trending globally. Videos of her assault played alongside Patterson's lies, creating a narrative the establishment couldn't control. 7:30 p.m., Torres breaks. Torres called Diana on her personal phone. They have my daughter, actually have her, she's safe for now, but only if I play along. We'll get her back. How? They own judges, senators, the FBI director apparently. How do we fight that? With the truth? With numbers? With refusing to stay quiet? Diana, they'll kill you. Tonight, probably. That meeting you're thinking about going to, it's a trap. Maybe, but staying home is just a slower death. 9:00 p.m., the Last Supper. Diana met with Marcus at a small diner, both knowing they were being watched. You're really going to that meeting? He asked. What choice do I have? The system is rigged from top to bottom. Maybe these shadow people have answers. Or maybe they're the ones running everything. Then I'll know that too. She pulled out an envelope. If something happens to me, give this to Nora Kim. It's everything: Crawford's journal, Jennifer's recordings, Estelle's documents from the 60s. Enough to burn it all down. Marcus took the envelope. Diana Crawford's autopsy, I had a friend run an independent test. Potassium chloride injection, same as they use in executions. So they executed him. Someone did. Someone who could walk into federal custody and inject a prisoner without anyone stopping them. At 10:45 p.m., the messages. As Diana prepared to leave for the meeting, her phone buzzed with messages from the 67. We're with you. Stay strong. You gave us courage. Now we give it back. Don't go alone. The last message was from Estelle Parker. Check your door. Diana opened it to find Tyler and Kevin, the college students from the bank. We're your backup, Tyler said. You're not going alone. This is dangerous. Everything's dangerous for people like us, Kevin replied. At least this danger has a purpose. 11:30 p.m., the warehouse. Diana arrived at the warehouse with Tyler and Kevin following at a distance. The building looked abandoned, but she could feel eyes watching from every shadow. Inside, 12 people sat around a table. She recognized some faces: a federal judge who'd been forcibly retired, a senator who'd lost re-election after opposing banking deregulation, a journalist who'd been discredited and destroyed for investigating First National. Agent Washington, the man from the parking garage said. Welcome to the resistance. Bit dramatic, don't you think? Drama is all we have left. The system owns everything else. A woman Diana recognized as former DOJ prosecutor Michelle Roberts spoke up. Crawford wasn't lying about his connections, but he underestimated how many of us they've burned along the way. We've been documenting waiting planning. Planning what? Complete exposure. Every corrupt official, every dirty deal, every murder disguised as suicide. We have it all. Then why haven't you released it? Because they'd spin it, bury it, discredit it. We needed someone clean, someone current, someone sympathetic. You. Diana laughed bitterly. I'm suspended, discredited, about to be arrested, probably. Exactly. Which is why when you release everything tomorrow, backed by 67 victims and hundreds of supporters, it will be impossible to ignore. Checked at 12:15 a.m. The truth. The judge pulled out a thick file. Crawford's death wasn't ordered by his network. It was ordered by someone else. Someone who wanted him silenced before he could make a deal. Hu Bianuk, the FBI director himself. Crawford had evidence of the director taking $30 million in bribes over 10 years. If Crawford testified, offered that as a bargaining chip, the director would fall. Diana felt sick. So the director had him killed, and is now trying to have you killed to clean up loose ends. Why tell me this? Why not release it yourselves? Michelle Roberts leaned forward. Because you're still pure in the public eye. You're the victim who became a hero. When you speak, people listen. And if I refuse, then you die tonight and they win. But if you fight, if you release everything we're giving you, plus what you already have, the whole house of cards collapses. 12:45 a.m., the attack. The warehouse door exploded inward. Men in tactical gear stormed in weapons raised. Not FBI, their equipment was too advanced, and their movements too precise. Nobody move. Diana recognized the voice, Vincent Russo Crawford's hitman supposedly in custody. You were released, she said. Never arrested. That video testimony, deep fake, all part of the show. He aimed his weapon at Diana. You've caused enough trouble. Tyler and Kevin burst through a side door. Diana, get down! Chaos erupted. The resistance members scattered. Gunfire echoed. Diana rolled behind a concrete pillar as bullets sparked off metal and stone. Michelle Roberts pulled out a gun Diana hadn't known she carried, returned fire. Go, we'll hold them. Diana ran Tyler and Kevin beside her. They burst out the back door into the alley where more men waited. End of the line, Washington. But then sirens. Dozens of them. Cars screeched to a halt. Not police news vans. Cameras. Lights. Nora Kim stepping out with a microphone. We're live at the scene where FBI agent Diana Washington is apparently under attack by unknown assailants. The attackers hesitated. They couldn't kill her on live television. 1:30 a.m., the confession. Russo made a calculation. He grabbed Diana, put a gun to her head. Everyone back off, or she dies. You're on live TV, Nora said calmly. The whole world is watching. I don't care. You should, Diana said. Because your boss, the FBI director, he's watching too, and he knows you're about to expose him. Shut up. Tell them, Vincent. Tell them who ordered Crawford's death. Tell them who's been protecting First National's racist system for decades. I said shut up. Diana looked directly at the cameras. The FBI director took $30 million in bribes from First National. He had Crawford killed to protect himself. He sent these men to kill me and everyone investigating the truth. Russo's hands shook. You're lying. Check your phone. Check your bank account. I bet the director just drained it. You're a loose end, too. Russo pulled out his phone with his free hand. His face went white. It's gone. Everything's gone. He's cleaning house. You're next. Russo lowered his gun. The director, FBI Director James Morrison, he ordered everything. Crawford's death, the evidence destruction, tonight's attack. He looked at the cameras. I have recordings, conversations, proof. 2:00 a.m. The dominoes fall. Within an hour, the story had exploded worldwide. The FBI director attempting to flee the country arrested at the airport. Senators calling for investigations. The Attorney General ordering a complete review of the entire First National case. Diana stood in the alley, surrounded by the 67 who'd somehow all appeared, forming a protective circle around her. "How did you all know to come?" she asked. Jerome smiled. "Estelle Parker. She called everyone, said you needed us." "Help!" Estelle herself pushed through the crowd, fierce and proud. "I told you, child. We're done being silent." 3:00 a.m. The release. From the news van using Nora's equipment, Diana uploaded everything. Crawford's journal, the recordings, the documents from the 1960s evidence of the conspiracy that reached from local banks to the highest levels of government. Jennifer Liu's servers activated simultaneously, flooding the internet with undeniable proof. WikiLeaks, major newspapers, social media, everything everywhere all at once. "They can't spin this," Nora said, watching the upload counter. "They can't bury this. It's too big, too widespread." Diana's phone rang. The president himself. "Agent Washington, I need you to stop this release." "With respect, sir, no. The American people deserve the truth. This will destroy faith in our institutions. Our institutions destroyed that faith when they allowed this to happen. Sunshine is the best disinfectant." She hung up on the President of the United States. 4:00 a.m., the victory. By dawn, 17 senators had resigned. The FBI director was in custody. First National's board members were being arrested across the country. The bank itself was seized by federal regulators. Diana stood on the steps of the federal building, the 67 around her, hundreds more behind them. The crowd had grown through the night, thousands now, all colors, all backgrounds, all united. "This isn't the end," Diana said into the microphones. "This is the beginning. Every bank, every corporation, every institution that thinks they can discriminate, intimidate, and destroy lives, we're coming for you." "Agent Washington," a reporter called out, "they're saying you'll be reinstated with full honors, possibly promoted to lead a new civil rights division. Will you accept?" Diana thought about James, about his belief in justice, about the 3 years she'd spent lost after his death. "I'll accept on one condition. The 67 become official consultants. They've lived this discrimination. They know what to look for, what to fight. I want them beside me." The crowd erupted in cheers. 5:00 a.m. The call. Diana's phone rang one last time. Unknown number. "Agent Washington." The voice was old-weathered. "This is former President Carter. I've been watching what you've done. It reminds me of the civil rights fighters I knew in the 60s. You've given an old man hope that the arc of the moral universe really does bend toward justice." "Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me. Thank you. You've reminded us what courage looks like." 6:00 a.m. The new dawn. As the sun rose over Chicago, Diana stood in her apartment looking at James's photo. The black sedan was gone. The threats had stopped. The system that had tried to destroy her was itself destroyed. Marcus arrived with coffee and her badge. "Welcome back, Agent Washington. Director Washington, actually. The president wants you running the new division immediately." "Director Washington," she said, trying it out. James would have laughed. A girl from the South Side running a federal division. He would have been proud. Diana pinned her badge back on its weight, familiar and comforting. "We've got work to do. There are thousands of First Nationals out there. Thousands of Crawfords. Thousands of victims waiting for justice." "Where do we start?" Diana looked out at the city, waking up at the news van still parked outside, at the people who'd stood vigil all night. "We start with the truth. We start with listening. We start with believing people when they say they've been wronged." Her phone buzzed. A message from Maria Santos. "My daughter slept through the night for the first time since the assault. She knows there's justice now. Thank you. Then, Jerome, my students saw the news. They believe in the system again because of you." "What?" Then all 67, one after another, not thanking her, but promising to continue fighting, to never be silent again, to stand with others who faced what they'd faced. Diana smiled, remembering Crawford's words that started everything. "You people need to learn your place." "We did learn our place," she said to James's photo. "Our place is standing up. Our place is fighting back. Our place is wherever we choose to be." She walked out of her apartment down to where the 67 waited. Her army, her family, her purpose. "Ready to change the world?" she asked them. "We already have," Estelle Parker replied. "Now we're going to keep changing it." Together they walked toward the federal building, toward the future, toward a justice that had been delayed, but not denied. Diana Washington had learned her place all right. Her place was making sure no one ever had to learn theirs again. The system thought it could break her with a knee on her back. Instead, she broke the system with the truth in her hand, and that truth finally had set them all free.